Alright, I'm going to try to work fast on this. Last time we left off with this sound, and I want to change the timbre around just a little bit. The first thing that I'm going to do is in my amp for EXI layer 2, I'm going to turn up the velocity intensity all the way up to like 80. And what that does is it means that the harder I hit the keys, the louder the second two fundamentals will be, or the last two harmonics will be out of the four. So it's like non-existent there. And then you hear them come in as I go harder. And I also want to do velocity on the first layer, but not quite as intense. So let's hear what this sounds like. It gives the instrument a nicer response. And then on the second layer, I want to modulate the cutoff of both filter A and B with velocity. And again, this is just going to give it some flavor. I just feel like doing this. I'll go +1 on the filter A and -1 on filter B, and that's going to basically change the harmonic structure the harder you hit it. Just gives it some nice flavor. Again, this is a pretty simple sound, but the dissonance and stuff is all going to end up coming together and sounding really nice in the end. So we want to go over, well, if you remember last time, we couldn't do unison. If we try to do it, you'll notice that we can't add thickness with detuning. And that's because we're using noise and filter cutoff. We could add width with stereo spread, and the reason is because since we're using noise sources, each voice that is sounding is technically sounding a random noise wave, so it can give width that way, and then it would probably be a lot easier to see if we use the vector scope. I don't really like doing this, and this spread parameter technically wouldn't work if we were using regular oscillators, and I guess I could show that to you real fast by removing my envelope generator and throwing it on oscillator 2 instead. I could use oscillator 1, it's just what I'm using for now. Oscillator 2, I'm going to throw envelope generator 1 at full intensity, and going through balance of both filters and taking off the noise. And what that's doing is each one is a saw with a phase of 0. So even though we have stereo spread on full, we're technically sending the exact same waveform through both layers and both filters. So we're not getting any width whatsoever. If we were to put randomness on the oscillator's phases, then we would, it's up, and we would get width that way, but not every time. And if you're listening to this in headphones, which I highly suggest, it's just kind of dumb, like only getting width some of the time. So it's just too random for my taste. So anyway, let's undo what we just did. Take that filter off, put this filter back on for noise, and do that for both layers. Okay, we're back to where we were. Now, I want to add some kind of width to this, and thickness, not with unison, but with something a bit more reliable. And so I'm going to, of course, use the chorus and delay 6 taps. Let's feed into that and come out of my left and right so I can see it. Now with this unit right here, let's go ahead and initialize it. Let's kind of put everything, zero everything out. And I'll take depth off for everything. All right. So, let me take off any kind of dynamic modulation. Very nice. Yeah, perfect. So with this unit, what this is it's what it says. It's a delay, but the delay lines can be modulated to create chorus, and you can even up the feedback to create flange. I guess it is important to note that the feedback is coming from tap 1 specifically, and then feeding in parallel to all of them. Technically, this is a mono, like it'll take whatever source you're using and make it mono, and then create the stereo image with how you program it. So let's first take down the dry wet. Sure, might as well bring it down. For whatever reason, if we're at 50-50, I guess I could show this off. I noticed that this unit is pretty loud. I'm not sure if it adds gain or what, but let's put on the first tap. There we are. So here the... Oh, I have it on 0 milliseconds. That's not where... Okay. So here how much louder the second tap is. Also with this preset, one is being panned, tap 1 is being panned all the way to the left. So it's quiet and it's louder. So I like it. I like the tap being quieter than the original signal. I'm going to put my BPM on 170 because I like working at that rate. I may have actually done that in the last video already. 710 is about an 1/8 note, and then I'm going to do the same for the tap 2. I'm going to put it on like 700. And not an 1/8 note, that's a 1/2 note at this rate. Now it's kind of quiet, so I'm going to go back to the compressor. And also let's put on Karma so I don't have to like keep retriggering. And while Karma is on, I want to take off the CCA because that's the panning, the automatic panning, which I don't want. So let's hear what this sounds like. It's going to be super fast, so let's actually program Karma a little bit. Bring our rhythm pattern up. There, that's very nice. And let's take the note range down a bit. It's probably fine. So let's go back to our compressor. Let's turn on the chorus again. Chorus delay. You know what, that volume actually sounds fine. We can work with this. This is okay. So let me put this always on. Okay, so now we're playing a note, and let me take off Karma, and we're getting the middle, and then we're getting a wide delay. And let me turn this amplitude up so you can kind of see it. Yeah, so then let's add more. Let's grab another delay, and this is tap 5 and 6, which are the middle ones. They're closer to the middle, and I'm going to make those about like 300 and 310. It's probably fine, which is about quarter notes. Okay, let's hear what this sounds like. So we get something down the middle, and then we get something kind of wider, and then we get something even wider than that. So we're getting the initial dryness, which is down the middle, and then we're getting the quarter note taps, and then we're getting the half note taps. Very nice. And with Karma, let's see what that sounds like. Now we can add some thickness by actually modulating the delay lines. If we put these all the way up for the super wide ones, it's going to sound too dissonant. So let's take them down a bit. And let's also add, let's see what it sounds like with a tiny bit of width in those middle ones. I don't want that much width for the middle ones. And now for the middle two, I'm going to make these more of a regular chorus sound. And I want to hear those by themselves. So you can already hear how we're kind of like widening the image. So that's more of like a traditional chorus. You can even speed it up a little bit. Now with everything on, we have a whole crazy stereo image now, where we didn't before. Now something cool about this is we can, this is where this unit gets like really neat, is we can add dynamic modulation into the feedback, but then also to the volume levels of like these parameters themselves. So let's keep our wide delays, but then for the rest, let's have dynamic modulation, make them go from off to on, so it's going to make them all fade in. And also let's increase the feedback with dynamic modulation. For all this, we're going to use VJS plus Y. So let's hear what this sounds like. Oh, also with VJS minus Y, why don't we use that to take down the dry wet? So basically, when the vector joystick is all the way south, then we're hearing none of the multitap chorus and delay. And you can see that in our vector scope, it's still right down the middle. As we go up, we're increasing the dry wet until we're at 2080 when we're in the middle. And then as we go north, we will turn up the volume for the chorusing tap and for the faster middler taps, the quarter note taps. We're also turning up the feedback. And again, going back to the middle. See, it really reduces the stereo image, and then going south brings the stereo image back to mono. Then going back up. Some of the taps are a little too dissonant for my taste, but it's fine. For now, it's fine. I want to show you some other cool things. We can do neat tricks with Karma, with our real-time controls, and of course with Karma itself. So we can turn bend on, for instance, to give kind of like a strange sci-fi effect. We can also increase the filter envelope generator. Use both of those in tandem. Which is pretty neat. And then it gets really cool because we can use filter resonance to actually take down the resonance of all of our filters all at once. So listen to what that sounds like. And of course it goes back to noise. And if we had our duration longer on Karma, which is slider 3 here, would make more sense. And of course, going back up. Something else we can do is I like kind of starting it off low and then turning it up. It almost gives kind of like a turntable like effect. So let's do that. Let's try that again. Nice. Sounds really pretty. Let me put Karma on latch. So something that we can do that sounds really cool is we can actually change around like the whole structure of this faux instrument that we created. And we can do that with the with envelope generator 1 for both. So let's take down the decay time for both layers, which gives us basically nothing. Now we're only hearing the upper layer. We're creating kind of like a blown effect. Let's do that with the lower one. What were we at, 50? Messing with the VJS some more and going back to mono. And then let's put the VJS back up. And with Karma, we can take down the note duration with slider 3. And also take down filter resonance. Yep, so that's it for this. I hope this was a fun video and it can show you like all the power of this strange method that we did here. Yeah, I hope you found it enjoyable. All right.